We're going to look at a concept known as communication apprehension. And what communication apprehension is essentially the anxiety or fear of communicating. That can be the fear that we experience while we're in that conversation or in that moment of communication, or the anticipation of that communication. And we can have it in any context. It can be in interpersonal communication, say the fear of having that interview, or it can be a fear of small group communication interaction, or it can be public speaking anxiety. But most often where we talk about it is with public speaking anxiety. And when we start talking about concepts like this, one of the things we want to think about is, what is the cause? What causes communication apprehension? And then what can be done about it, what we call the interventions, which are the professional ways to respond to a situation like that. And then finally, what you can do maybe to take availability of the interventions that are available. So let's begin with the first cause that we have thought about. One of the causes we've thought about is the cause of insufficient skills. So Fred is anxious about giving a sales presentation. There we go with Fred. And so the thought is maybe he's anxious about that because he just doesn't know how to do it, doesn't know how to go about it. And so the intervention here is called skills training. Skills training. And the theory here is that if you increase a person's competence, that you also increase their confidence. Okay? And so how would you take advantage of that? Well, it would be classes, which are good. You're in a class right now. It would be practice. Maybe you join an organization like Toastmasters that helps people practice and gives them constructive feedback. And these things have been proven to improve a person's communication abilities, that is their competence, but it has had relatively little effect on their actual confidence or reducing that anxiety. And so we started looking for perhaps another cause. So what would another cause be? Well, another cause might be negative thoughts. So you feel bad because you think bad thoughts. And so we've got Francine here, and the assumption is that Francine is afraid to do the presentation at the board meeting on the plans of the program that she's got prepared, because she just has all these negative possibilities rolling around in her head. And so the intervention that we talk about here is called cognitive restructuring. This is based on rational emotive therapy, which is just that. It is the relationship between the rational, the cognitive, the thoughts, and the emotions. And the way that this would be applied is that you identify the negative anticipations that you have, so negative thoughts, and you replace those positive thoughts or anticipations. So we might give an example of how this would look. You think about making a list and not necessarily checking it twice, but you begin by making a list. And on the one side is you would make a list of the negative anticipations that you have. So maybe you're afraid that you're going to be boring. Maybe you're afraid that you're going to lose your place. or maybe you're afraid that you're going to stumble over words. And what cognitive restructuring would tell you to do here is to rethink about these in positive terms. So you replace these negative expectations with positive anticipations or positive thoughts. And you would actually make these as statements. And you would say, I will be energetic. And then in terms of losing a place, you would say, I will be organized. And finally, if you stumble your words, you would say, I will speak clearly. And then what you would do is you would actually discard these negative thoughts, get rid of them, and throw them away. And then you would take your positive anticipations that you've reworded here. We're going to erase all of that. But you would take these positive thoughts that you've got and you would rehearse these over and over again. So you might tape them to a mirror or something so that when you're standing at the mirror brushing your teeth, you would be saying these to yourself and rehearsing those positive anticipations. Okay, so let's go back to our chart. Let's ignore that one. So that intervention actually does have some pretty positive results to it, but it's not everything that we want it to be. And so what's left? Well, what's left is actually the way we feel, or the anxious feelings, which you feel in your body. So we'll talk about Mark here, and Mark says, "So where do you experience the anxiety?" Well, he says, it's not really in my head. His friend tells him it's all in his head, but really, he says, I feel it in my shoulders. Sometimes I feel it in my abdomen. Sometimes I feel it in my legs. And that's because the operant conditioning has caused him to avoid communication experiences over the years. He has conditioned his body to feel relief when he gets out of communication experiences, particularly public speaking, and so it's communication avoidance behavior. And so what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to systematically relearn or retrain all of his body to respond differently. And this is called systematic desensitization. It's a big word. But what it really means is relaxation exercise combined with visualization. And what he would do is Marcus is going to lay flat on the floor, his knees bent, has to be on the floor, can't be on the bed. The bed has too much give. And you lay flat there. And he begins by tensing up his feet and relaxing them, and tensing his feet up and relaxing them, tensing his feet up and relaxing them 3 times with each muscle group. And then his calves, then his thighs, his abdomen, his butt, his arms. When he gets to his neck, he's going to move his chin toward his chest 3 times and relax them. And then when he gets to his face, he's going to scrunch up his face and relax it 3 times so that he gets completely relaxed. And then he's going to tense up everything, whole body, and relax and tense it up and relax and tense it up and relax. And then begins the visualization process. And what Mark will do then is visualize himself giving his speech in front of an audience. And if he has high communication apprehension, then that act of visualization should increase his blood pressure and make him feel anxious and nervous. And he will linger with that for a while, and then he'll tense his whole body up and relax it, and tense his whole body up and relax it, and tense his whole body up and relax it. and then start again with his feet, begin working his way up, and then when he's done, go through the visualization again. This is not something that works once and then you're done. You have to do it several times. So about 3 times a week for 7 weeks, and you begin to see some decrease in communication apprehension. And so it is the one that takes the longest amount of time, but it's also the one that is the most effective. And so we've looked at this now, seen how we've seen the causes. The cause is that one possible cause is insufficient skills that can be responded to with skills training, classes and practice. That's very good for a lot of things, but not necessarily really good for reducing communication apprehension. We've seen that it could be caused by our negative thoughts, and cognitive restructuring would create positive alternatives to those negative thoughts that are rolling around in our head, and rehearsing those positive alternatives over and over and over again. That's been shown to reduce communication apprehension somewhat. And then the third thing is the anxious feelings, that we were experiencing this biologically. It's come from actual physical conditioning that we've generated over the years. The way we respond to that is through systematic desensitization, learning to relax, and then visualizing ourselves giving the speech. And over time, if this is done consistently, it does reduce communication apprehension. It's not easy, but it is doable. And this is one of the most important skills that you have, and so it's worth it to invest some time and energy in trying to reduce communication apprehension.